Here we go. So we'll start with the photo. Here we go once again. So today it's the National Lottery. So this is the symbol for the National Lottery in the UK. This is the sort of logo they have. One of the games is the Euro Millions, and there are other games too. I don't know a great deal about it, so hopefully we're going to find out. Here we go. So this is the article. It's in the independent.com newspaper. Wrong page. Go to this one here. Here we go. And this is titled, "Is winning the lottery actually terrible luck?" Normally you might think about it's good luck to win the lottery, but here it's saying terrible luck. So if something's terrible, that means it's really bad. Normally it means it's really bad. But you can sometimes use the word terribly and you're talking about it something in a good way. So this is one of those words it can emphasize what you're talking about. It can add emphasis, but often normally it's actually talking about something that's bad when you say terrible. Okay, then below that it says, one ticket holder has just won a record-breaking Euro Millions jackpot of £208 million. It's something we've all dreamed of, writes Ellie Harrison. But sometimes earning a fortune overnight can be a curse. So it's written last Friday, 20th of June. Scroll on. This chap was the Chancellor of the Exchequer many years ago. I think maybe he launched the National Lottery. I can't remember. Maybe that's why his photo is there. I don't really know. So this is the actual article here. So this is written by Ellie Harrison. So as usual, we'll go over to the very first person who came in, and it was in fact Michael. Do you fancy going first? Is that okay, Michael?
Okay, okay. What would you do if you won the lottery? It's something we've all fantasized about, surely. Would the money go straight into property, a London pied-a-terre, a summer sprawl, an Italian farmhouse, perhaps? Sounds lovely. Or maybe you'd become a philanthropist, investing the cash in causes from rescuing kittens to curing cancer, or as in the new romcom, The Ballad of Wales Island, you'd spend it on something a little more niche, like getting your favorite musicians together to perform a private concert. That's the dream anyway. The nightmare is that you lose all sense of self and turn into a walking, talking cash machine, unable to trust anyone, and harassed over the spoils for the rest of your life. When the news came this week that one ticket holder in Ireland had scooped a record-breaking Euros Millions lottery jackpot of 208 million of pound. All I could think about was the nightmare. Surely that amount of money appearing in your bank account out of nowhere can't lead to anything healthy. At the risk of sounding like a harbinger of doom or just jealous, nothing in life comes without a price. Case in point, this week there were also reports that a woman who won 6 million, 6 million of pound.
Hmm. Oh, I'm trying to scroll down, it won't move. So here we go. Oh, I don't know. Uh, that a woman won a £6 million mansion in a £10 Omaze prize draw. So I thought we'd just finish that off because we sort of broke into the middle of a sentence there. So there's another lottery, and it's called the Omaze draw, I think, or prize draw, I think. And they do it. I'm not sure how often they do it. It might be once a month or once every few months. And you put obviously you buy a ticket for £10, and you have the chance of winning a multi-million pound house or mansion, as they call it here, so anywhere in the UK somewhere. And obviously, it's a different mansion every month, or I'm not sure how often it happens. It might be once or twice a year or once a month. I really don't know, but it appears on television. That's what that one is. So, was there anything else that you wanted to sort of ask about that there? Not so much anything else, but anything you wanted to ask about that bit there? Probably a few questions. When I was reading, I thought, well, I didn't expect that. Anything?
Fantasy, fantasy, fantasize it, fantasize it,
Yeah, you're almost there. So fantasized, fantasized.
fantasize,
Yeah, the ED's always a bit tricky, isn't it?
fantasize.
And I think they spelt it a little bit. I think it's most. I think I'd say most people spell it with a Z, but you can spell it with an S like that. I think it's not American or British. It's two ways of spelling it. But normally, I say a Z, C a Z there. Fantasized, fantasized. Do you want to say it again?
Fantas
Fantasized. Yeah, and again, sorry.
fantasize,
Yeah, I think.
fantasize.
Yeah, that's it. It's the ED is a bit tricky, isn't it? So anything below that, maybe?
Into a property, London, pied-a-terre.
Yeah,
It's
that's
French.
pretty much it. Yeah. Guess what country that comes from? And you know already. So, pied-a-terre, pied-a-terre, pied-a-terre. I think I have that. So, sort of the D is almost quiet, but it isn't. I am sort of trying to say that D. Pied-a-terre, pied-a-terre. Do you want to give that a go? Pied-a-terre.
Pied-a-terre,
Yeah, I think
pied-a-terre.
your French accent is better than mine, to be honest. So let's listen to how they say it.
Pied-à-terre,
Yeah, pied-a-terre. Let's say it like and again, what's that?
pied-à-terre,
Do you want to try it once more after listening to that? So once more, then it's your go, Michael.
pied-à-terre,
Pied-a-terre.
Yeah, you're better than me. Okay. And so it says word forms here. So there's an S there. So I take that to be the plural effectively. But it does you can't hear a difference between the plural and the singular. These two word forms sound exactly the same. So it's basically the same sound you're making. It's a bit tricky that one, isn't it? That was great. Good. Well done. Anything else? Oh yeah.
Mm, yeah. Philanthropist or
Yeah. Yeah, the that you yeah, yes, one of those was pretty much there. So philanthropist,
philanthropist.
philanthropist. Can you say it out loud for me? So philanthropist.
Philanthropist. Philanthropist.
Yeah, your first one was fantastic. Yes, it's a bit of a tricky word, isn't it? So, and any idea what it means? Do you know? I think you know the word somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
People who give money for
yeah.
it's rich people with money who uh,
Mm.
spend money for some organization or for some
Mm.
project
Yeah, some
to help
worthy
to help
cause.
to help people to
Yeah.
for example to support
Mm.
rescuing kittens,
Yeah, that's
rescuing
it.
curing
Yeah,
cancer.
yeah, that's it. Someone who does good things, a worker of good, perhaps I should say, philanthropist. But it is tricky. Maybe we'll come back to that at the end because it's a little bit tricky that one. There's so many little sounds in there. Anything else? You happy with most of that?
The risk of sounding like a harbinger of doom.
Mm.
Har harbinger. What does it
Actually,
mean?
when you read it out, you were really close. And when now you're thinking about it, you're probably slightly further away, but you're pretty good. So, and it is tricky. It's got an NG sound right in the middle. So let me try to say the word harbinger. Harbinger.
Harbinger.
Let me just,
Har
yeah, that's it. Carry on. Harbinger.
harbinger.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds really good. So let's listen to that. Let's listen to these guys. Oh, it has got the ng there, but they're not. Well, they're not making the sound I was expecting. So let's listen to it. Harbinger.
harbinger,
Yeah, harbinger. So something that is a harbinger of something else, especially something bad, is a sign that it's going to happen. So, I don't know, you might say dark clouds are a harbinger of thunderstorm, perhaps. That's a bit of a strange one to say.
Mhm.
But it might be sort of slightly stronger than that. A harbinger is normally quite a bad thing. I think it dates back to, I think originally a harbinger was somebody who went ahead of somebody else and they sorted out the accommodation, like the hotel where you were staying in a town, maybe. So that was the harbinger, was somebody who went ahead of you to sort out your arrangements. But for whatever reason, as time's gone by, it's had to take up this other meaning of some sort of a forewarning of doom. That's what it really means. Anything else? So it's interesting. They're talking about a harbinger of doom. They're talking about winning the lottery. Wow. Anything else there?
I don't know.
Okay, so maybe I think it was the walking bit here, the ings, these two ings here. So maybe if we just read, if I read this to you, this bit in blue, can you just give it one more go, or maybe you do it first. You give it a go. This bit in blue here, if you can.
The nightmare is that you lose all sense of self and turn into a talking cash machine, unable to trust anyone, and harassed over the spoils for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. That's very good. So, so yeah, so harassed.
Harassed,
Yeah,
harassed,
yeah, that's it. That's good. Maybe, and this little bit here now. So, so that's I, I, I can hear you say walking, talking. It's a little bit like that. So you're not quite doing the ng sound, which I mentioned earlier. Um, so this word here, I would say is, so you're saying walking, and I'm saying walking.
walking,
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And maybe that one. So talking, talking.
talking,
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. Maybe the first one was a better one, I think. That's it. So what I said before, it's good to practice. You could do the whole words talking, but practice the king bit because that keeps occurring in that same sound. The king bit, obviously, as you can see here, occurs in many other sounds. Some, so you can see it there, and of course in walking as well, of course. So yeah, that's pretty good. Um, so up here we have this word or little phrase here. So a new rom-com. So what's a rom-com?
Romantic comedy.
Yeah, you've got
Genre,
it.
genre of always of
Yeah. So it's a story normally. So a romantic comedy. It's short for romantic comedy. Yeah, very good. And this one seems to be called The Ballad of Wallace Island. And from looking at this, it looks as if someone's won the lottery in this story, I guess, and they've bought an island, I think, but I'm not sure. I've not seen that. So what's that word there? And what does it mean?
niche.
Spot on.
It's it's some. I try to explain.
Mm.
It's I know in Ukrainian also we use
Ah,
this the word niche. It's some place, some not common, not spread common in population. It's some. Uh,
yeah, you're right. It's not common.
no,
That's
there
part
are
of it,
many
but
things.
more specifically,
There
yeah.
are many meanings. Some niche, it's like a hole in a wall.
Yes, yes, well done, well done.
One
That's how it originally
niche,
started out. That's it.
but niche, it's also some. Place in mm, I can't explain.
Yeah, I think you've got it really. So you're like, I like how you started out with saying it's a small hole in the wall. I think they were in churches, and you could put a little light or a candle there, and it was a way to put light into the room. So it's a small sort of a hollow in the wall, a hollowed out little bit in the wall, making a very small shelf. So you could put a candle or some light there. And that sort of that same idea is then over into the rest of life, where some other little area of our existence on Earth or life or in our experiences, there's a small area where this something or other applies. So you could say within the film, within all the films, there's a small niche which is called horror movies. So one is a niche of another, but you might probably say genre rather than niche in that case. But you could possibly use niche too. That's it. I think you had it really, but it's tricky to get it. So what was that word again there? Do you remember? So it's Phil something or other.
Philanthropist.
Oh yeah. Oh, fantastic. Very good. Very good. And you're so good on that one. I don't think we'll do that again. But what do you think this refers to there? What's that? A something, something.
Summer's sprawl.
Yeah. What is that? It's got a capital S, isn't it? So that means it's something it doesn't do.
It's some type of mention,
Yeah, I
or
think you've that's the idea in that sort of sentence, isn't it? So a London pied-a-terre. So that's a house in London. That's what that means. Pied-a-terre, pied-a-terre. Somerset is a place or a county in England, in southern England. It's quite very much in the country and away from all troubles, you might say. And sprawl here, I think that's implying a large property, a large property. But sprawl, let's copy the word and pop it into the dictionary. So you might say, my cat was sprawled out on the carpet. Sprawled. So laying down, spread out as much as possible. So here we go. So if you sprawl somewhere, you sit or lie down with your legs and arms spread out in a careless way. That's sprawl. She's then lots of examples. Oh, and then the synonyms are loll, slump, lounge, flop. So sprawl out means the same as sprawl. That's it. So it's spread out. So if a property is spread out, it's spacious, large, etc., etc. So there's a few different meanings there, isn't there? You can see that's the basic idea. Sprawl, sprawl. What else did I notice? And just anything you notice, just do say. Don't hold back. Um, there's something. Let's try to think. I think when you said that value, I think you put well, we just say it as I would read that out as 208 million pounds. And I think you said and million or something. So I think we might miss out that
oh,
and.
I said 208 million of pounds. I
Oh,
thought
that was it. Yes, of pounds. That was it. Yes, that was it. So yeah, so we sort of simplify it really. That's it. But it could have been other currencies, I suppose. It is understandable. It looked at harbinger, harbinger of doom. So harbinger of doom is a little bit of a saying. Did looked at romcom, philanthropy. I can't think of anything else. Maybe I think when you said there's so this word was in there. So could you just try this one again? It's over here. This one here.
trust,
Yeah, that's clear. Yeah, just when you read it out, I think the it was a little bit unclear. So let me say it for you. So trust, trust.
trust,
I
trust.
yeah, I think that you got that right. That's it. Anything more from you, Michael, or anybody else? Any other questions I want to ask about that bit there?
I haven't any.
And maybe this word too. I think it wasn't cause. It was. Can you do this word maybe? That word there?
Causes.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty good. Causes. So I'm a little bit harder.
Causes. Causes.
Causes. So it's more as if I'm saying core, core, and then I put like a bunch of Z-y sort of sounds on the end of it. Causes. It's more like that. Causes.
Causes.
Yeah.
Causes.
Can you just say the core for me? Just the word core, maybe. Core. Can you say that?
Core.
Core. Yeah.
Core.
Yeah. Okay. Let's miss off the. Let's try. You're basically there. You're sort of 90% then. We're just looking at perfection, really, I suppose. I think the C's good, but this or sound is a little bit out. So the or, as I've written it here, this is a real word. So if you want iron, you look in the ground for iron ore, and this is how it's spelled, iron ore. So you can just try this bit here, or.
Or.
Yeah, that's really
Or.
clear. Or, yeah.
Or.
Yes, that sounds really good. But can you keep that sound and put the C in front of it? Say core, core.
Core.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Core, core. And then maybe stick some Z sounds on the end of it. So causes, causes,
Causes.
causes. Yeah, that's good. That's better. Yeah, I think it's a bit better. But it's just that the sounds aren't quite there. They're good enough. I think most people understand you. I think I think maybe need to just play with that a little bit in the future. Maybe that's pretty good. Um, Nightmare. That was okay, wasn't it? I can't think of anything else. And no one else called out for anything else. So maybe if we go straight on to Elena, is that okay? Straight over to you, Elena. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. Okay. So we stopped halfway through, didn't we? So find two. No, importantly. So if I read that little bit there, so I read about the Omaze draw. So that's where you pay £10 and once every few months or something, you have the chance of winning a house. And then you pay again another £10 a few months later, and you have another chance of winning another multi-million-pound house. So in this case here, it says, has been denied the keys and is now embroiled in a lengthy planning battle. So when they say a planning battle, normally that's sort of a legal thing with the council about who owns the house or should the house even really be there. So it might be that the house doesn't have the right permissions when it was built. So that's what this seems to be saying there. I don't know exactly. Okay, so do you want to start from there? Is that okay? Where it says
Yes, it's okay.
still,
Yes,
still. There
ready.
we go. Over to you then, Elena.
Still, her life has changed beyond recognition overnight. It's just crazy, Vicky Curtis Cresswell told the press. 1 week we are worrying about our old car breaking down. The next thing, we've got a £6 million house. Stories of cursed lottery winners are a tale as old as time. One historic headline about an incident in Paris in 1765 sounds more like a film noir plotline. A baker and his pregnant wife murdered for his winning by an employee. More recently, there was British teenager Kaylee Rogers, who was just 16 when she won £1.8 million in 2003, a modest sum compared to the latest win. She gave hundreds of thousands to loved ones and later admitted to the papers that she feared people were only nice to her for her money. After it was all spent, she started working as a cleaner and moved back in with her mom, telling a reporter. Now the money has all gone. I can find some happiness. It's ruined my life. Victoria Jones, who won £2.3 million with her now ex-husband in 2004, said winning the lottery was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me, without a shadow of a doubt, adding, "People treat you differently. It's just not a nice thing." And Margaret, can you please up it? Yeah. And Margaret Laungray, who went from living on £61 a week to winning a £27 million jackpot in 2013, struggled with her mental health after coming into fortune.
Okay, we'll leave it. Wow, that last one, wow. So, okay, anything about that little bit there? So that's the top of it there. So still her, that's where we started.
Mm-hmm.
Anything there?
Maybe some pronunciation you've noticed.
Oh, nothing. So you're okay with that then, eh? Yeah, okay.
Just,
So maybe that very first word, the very first word there. So if you just fancy rereading that first sentence where it starts with there down to night, overnight, a little bit there again.
Still, her life has changed beyond recognition overnight.
Okay. Okay. So it's pretty good. There's nothing particularly wrong with it, but being like the very first word, you when you're introducing a new subject or you're first starting talking, the very first word, you don't really know how it's going to be said as you're the listener, but obviously you know what you're going to say. But as a listener, let's say it's me and the other guys here, we don't know what you're going to say effectively, you could say. So you had to be not don't rush the first word too much or the first few words. Draw us in gradually, sort of a thing, because we don't know exactly how you're going to say things necessarily. So that very first, so you could say that first line reasonably slowly, and as people get used to your accent, you could pick up the speed as you go along. So the first sentence, talk relatively slowly, I would suggest. I know you know us, and so we know what to expect. So I know your accent, sort of thing, so that everyone else here. So that's okay, but just be aware of that in future with other people, especially new people, of course.
So, intonation must be observed. Pay attention on intonation.
Uh, is that a question about what I was just saying, or
Yes.
what are you trying to say?
Yes.
Not sure what you're
About
getting at.
about intonation and maybe order words in the sentence. So where to low voice, where to higher voice.
Yeah, okay. Um, so let me just read this first short half a paragraph back then. This first bit there. So still, her life has changed beyond recognition overnight. It's just crazy, Vicky Curtis Creswell told the press. One week we're worrying about our old car breaking down. The next thing, we've got a £6 million house. So obviously I read that more sort of dramatically, maybe emotionally, perhaps. So when it comes to values, I suppose we sort of run all the words together because million so often goes next to a certain number and it's always going to be pounds unless we're talking about dollars, of course, or something else, or euros or something. So these words often get all run together like its own sound almost. So £6 million, £6 million, or £8 million. I noticed when you read it out, you said each little bit very accurately. So £6 million sort of thing, which is it's okay. I understood it, but normally everything's said as almost as one. So shall I read that again, maybe? Then you have another go reading that little bit there. So try to get perhaps a different intonation. So still, her life has changed beyond recognition overnight. It's just crazy, Ricky Creswell. Vicky Curtis Creswell told the press. 1 week we're worrying about our old car breaking down. The next we've got a £6 million house. You'll go.
Still, her life has changed beyond recognition overnight. It's just crazy, Vicky Curtis Creswell told the press. 1 week we are worried about our old car breaking down. The next thing we've got a £6 million house.
Yeah. That was good. I like that. That was good. And just a very small thing with that first word there, which is something I was going to say. Just listen to a second if I say it a couple of times. So still. Can you give that a go? It's like that. Still.
Still.
So when you're saying that, it sounds a little. I have to think of. So when you said that word, I'm not really sure what you're saying, and I'm only getting the idea what you said when I listen to the rest of the context of that sentence. Because when you said this word, I'm sort of wondering if you're saying that word.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's a so that's kind of why I was saying at the beginning, talk slowly at the beginning, so give people introduction into your accent,
Yes, it's for
especially if
me,
you
it's
don't
three
know it. Yeah.
different words, but it pronounced the same sometimes.
Yeah.
Just only
Well,
by
well, well,
context.
well, these two words that we're having blue now, they are pronounced the same.
Mhm.
I spell that correctly? I think I can. So let's get rid of one of them. So if I just say both of them, and it's very hard to tell the difference really. Still, steal.
So,
Let me
first,
say it 2 or
yeah.
3 times. Just listen for a moment. So then you imbibe it. Then let's have a quick discussion. So the top one is still, and this one bottom one is steal. So you were going to say something. Sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to say, Elena?
First word, it's short sound.
Yeah. That's how I would describe it. Yeah.
Steal, it's a long
Okay.
sound. E,
Yeah. Yeah.
E-A
I think.
together, it's a long E sound.
Mm. Yeah, so basically it's the vowel. We're talking about the vowel sound.
Mhm.
What sound is it? So that's always the tricky thing, isn't it? I think really, but not always, but often it's not. So yeah.
Okay, steal.
Yeah. That's a lot better. That's so much better actually. Yes. Yeah. But it's getting it in the future and remembering it. So I'll do it again, then one more. But I think you sort of have it pretty much, sort of thing. But it is still tricky. Still, steal. You'll go.
Steal.
Oh, yeah. I could really hear it then. That was very, very clear. That last one was perfect, I would say. That's it. Well done.
Okay.
So there was nothing else you noticed here that you was problematic. What about that name down there, at the very bottom of the page? How would you say that name?
Langry.
It's tricky. I don't really know. I would guess. So that first bit, you probably would spell that looks like the word lock, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, lock. So I would say Lochray. Lochray.
It's Scotland.
Yeah,
Name.
I'm making a guess. I might be completely wrong, but I would guess Scottish Lochray. Lochray. Possibly even Irish, actually, I suppose. But
Lochry. It's
it's
like
tricky.
a
It
Loch
is tricky.
Ness
But
animal.
yeah. So I suppose the other way could be Lowray. Another way of saying it, but I'm guessing it's a case of ask the person. It's one of those situations, I think, isn't it? So up here, there's this little thing here. What is that talking about there? That bit in blue. What's that mean?
Film noir plotline. Um,
Mm.
it's a old style films,
Mm.
black and white.
Um, so what makes you say black and white? You're
Or
sort of right,
it's
really.
a
You are
black
right.
of humor,
I missed that. So you say that again for me?
with black humor, something. It's a special
Um,
atmosphere. Maybe it's from end of 13th years of last century.
Okay. So film noir is a particular genre, or maybe even niche of film, which they don't really make anymore. I think they made them, oh damn, perhaps in the 30s and the 40s, maybe more in the 50s, I think it would have been in the 1950s. So almost 100 years ago. Um, Maybe they still make them. But so film, you know what film is? It's the movies. So what does noir mean? What does noir mean?
Noir is like a glamour.
Glamour.
Yeah.
Glum. You
Yes.
said. Oh, glum. Sort of sad, something like
Yes.
that, you mean?
So I
You're
imagine
not, you're sort of there actually. Over the genre sort of is something glum about it. Yeah, but really that word there means black. I think it means black, doesn't it? I'm checking now. So I haven't checked this. I should I should check some of this stuff out really. So film black is basically, as far as I'm aware. So here we go. So if you describe a film as noir, you mean it is in a style that shows that the world as a dangerous or depressing place where many people suffer, especially because of greed or cruelty of others. So that's interesting.
it's absolutely different to what I imagined.
Yeah, so it's this. It sort of means a black life, I would say, or life in its worst form, life in its blackest form, maybe you could say. So I wanted to say what the word black meant. I mean, noir. As far as I'm aware, noir. Yeah, here we go. French black. My goodness, I was really doubting myself there. So it's just saying it basically means black, film
Oh
black.
yeah, I saw it as a black humor, something like that.
Yeah, but it's there were occasionally sort of humorous black film noir movies, but it's not really so much that. It's more that it's this sort of real life, somewhat depressing kind of a movie, sort of a thing. Real life, I think. Life in all its nastiness. Oh, I don't know quite well. So there we go. That's that then. Um, so anything like that, do ask because I make lots of assumptions about things, and then you sort of like 10 years later, I suddenly realize, oh, I got the wrong end of the stick. So do ask about those sorts of things. So I remember that there's the word. It's okay when you said this, but could we just practice that word there? Fear. That word there.
Fear,
Yeah, and now put the ed on the end.
feared,
Yeah, that's really clear. Yeah, feared. That's it. That's really good. Feared. Anything else? Um, Trying to think. Anything else from anybody? Anyone else have any questions or queries? There was something. Could you do maybe that word there as well, perhaps? Is that okay, Elena?
adding,
Yeah, so you're saying adding. Can you get the ng sound maybe? So adding.
adding, adding,
Maybe a bit more, maybe. So, so, when I'm making if I'm just saying, so there's no such word as I think anyway. So add in, there's no such word. But when I say that, add in, to get the N sound, I'm using the front of my tongue at the front of my mouth, and I'm sort of blocking my mouth, so there's no air coming out of my mouth. It's just coming out of my nose. But with my tongue at the front, that sort of cavity, my mouth, that sort of size, it gives a certain N sort of a sound. That's why we move the tongue up at the front. Add in. But when it's really an NG sound, what you're meant to do to get the NG sound, you raise your tongue at the back of your mouth. So the cavity of your mouth is sort of eliminated. There's not really a cavity there anymore. So it doesn't reverberate as it did when it was just an N, say. So when you raise your tongue at the back of your mouth, you sort of block most of your mouth off, and the sound goes pretty much all through your nose, sort of. So that's the difference, and it is sort of noticeable. It's not vital. Most people would understand what you're saying. And it's almost pretty much everywhere where you see ng, it's this raising your tongue at the back of your mouth. There are a few exceptions, and we just had one, and one was harbing. Have I spelled that correctly? So harbinger. That's an indication where you don't have the ng. It's not really that ng sound in that case there. But almost every other word, not literally every word, but a lot of the other words don't have that. It's this sound. That's really the sound I'm making. Mm, rather than mm. Um, so, maybe we'll do adding. Have I spell that correctly? Yes, I have. Yeah, the other one is, I think, is. So there's these three here I've just stuck in. Do you fancy just reading? If I just read these three out to you again, do you fancy just practicing on these three here a little bit? So I'll do the top one maybe. So this one's a bit. So I'll do this first of all. So adding. So adding things up, maybe adding up numbers or something. And this one is something. And finally, walking. You'll go, maybe.
Adding, something, walking.
Okay. I think I actually heard it in your adding a little bit there. So I can't really hear it very much in these other words, but I think I heard it at the very beginning. So are you able to lift up your tongue at the back of your mouth when you're saying when you come up to ng, adding? It's a bit tricky. If you had sort of a liquid in your mouth and perhaps you were gargling something in your, if you're for the sake of your teeth, you're gargling water maybe or something, and to stop the water going down your mouth, down your food pipe or whatever it's called, or trachea, you might raise your tongue up at the back to stop the liquid going down. So that's one situation you might do that. Because some people think, well, I can't raise my tongue at the back. That's one sort of situation you might perhaps do that. Or you're holding your breath or something like that. So maybe try it again. So adding, something, and walking. You'll go, adding.
Adding,
Oh,
something, walking.
yeah. You get it. I sort of hear it in these top two now, I think, but not really the bottom one. Yeah. So it's actually can be sort of more useful almost to forget about the start of the word with walking and just do the last part of it, because after it's only the ng sound we're talking about. And so really maybe just as I said a few times, just practice the word king, because walking has king stuck on the end, doesn't it? Another thing to do might be to practice the ting sound as well, because a lot of words, ing words ending ting. So maybe if we just quickly do that too. So, whoops. So, let's just do king, and maybe ting, because there isn't really a word ting as such, I suppose. But I think there's a line of toys called ting. Actually, I haven't said that. So king. Let's just say king a couple of times. King. You'll go.
Kin,
Okay, move the bottom one perhaps. Ting, ting.
tin.
Yeah. See, I'd say with both of these, especially the bottom one, I'm just hearing that tin, when you're saying it. And this one here, I'm hearing it's more kin when you're saying it. And kin basically means like relatives, your close family relatives. Yeah. So okay, so that's something to look at. Have we looked at this before? I don't remember. I think we have. I'm sure we haven't we? Blast. If I go back to this page here,
Mhm.
no, I can't see it. There was a photo here. It was a little something that's quite useful sometimes to actually talk about this, but it's not there at the moment, so I can't really do that. Okay, so we'll have to roll on. So thanks very much. I think we've looked at all that we can. So any questions from anybody else on this little passage here? I take that as a no. So we'll
No.
scroll. Okay, so Giuseppe, over to you now. So we got halfway through this paragraph here. Do you fancy rereading this paragraph from the top there? And if I just scroll to the top,
Okay.
that bit there. So over to you, Giuseppe. Thank
I
you.
don't mind. It's
Giuseppe. This is Giuseppe now.
Giuseppe, sorry.
Thank you. Victoria Jones, who won 2.3 million pounds with her no ex-husband in 2004, said winning the lottery was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me, without a shadow of doubt, adding, people treat you differently. It's just not a nice thing. And Margaret Lawfray, who went from living on 71 pounds a week to winning a 27 million pounds jackpot in 2013, struggled with her mental health after coming into fortune. She said, I don't believe in religion, but if there is a hell, I have been in it.
Cool.
It has been that bad, I went down to 5.5 stone. One of the most upsetting stories comes out of the US, where West Virginia businessman Jack Whittaker won $315 million, 234 million pounds, Powerball jackpot in 2002. Just 10 years later, his wife had left him, and his daughter and granddaughter had died of drug overdoses. He'd also been robbed numerous times. Once someone dragged him in a strip club and stole $545,000 in cash that had been sitting outside in his car. I wish I'd torn that ticket up, he later told reporters through tears. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, well, carry on, yeah.
Okay. These may be green tabloid stories, but they do prove one thing. Going public is a bad idea. The National Lottery's official advice is for the new winners to stay calm, get independent legal and financial advice, and contact us as soon as they can. Those who pose outside their home with an oversized check and a bottle of champers don't stand a chance at being able to, I can't read the final part.
Oh, okay. To take a beat and I don't understand that. Okay, so let me read again. So those who pose outside their home with an oversized check and a bottle of don't stand a chance at being able to take a beat and think about how they want to spend their fortunes.
Okay.
I don't exactly understand that. But take a beat might be to take a second, take a few moments, take a few days maybe, and think about how they want to spend their fortunes.
Good fortune. Okay.
Take a beat. So with music, you use the beat, and beat is timing, isn't it, in music? So maybe that's what they mean. But to me, that's a slightly unusual way of saying it. It's an interesting way of saying it. I haven't said that, but okay. So anything else you want? Anything else to ask about that there?
Or maybe the pronunciation of just in the last part, a bottle
Oh, yeah,
of.
I missed that out, didn't
Yeah.
I? So this is a sort of a colloquialism of champagne. But
Mhm.
so it's basically champagne, but we don't say champagne. We say for that word there, we say champers. Champers.
Champers. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Champers.
So if you're celebrating, you'd have something very, especially for a millionaire, you'd have the most expensive wine, and champagne would probably almost certainly be it. But in this case, champers. Sometimes I've heard people say shampoo and a bottle of shampoo. And oh no, with shampoo you would normally wash your hair. So that's someone being funny, really. But some people do say that, shampoo. So they might mess around a little bit with the word, but they mean champagne. So
Okay.
champers, shampoo. Anything else? Oh, very, very
Mm,
sad, that story, wasn't it?
mm, No, I think
Oh, you're a little bit muffled there. I can't hear you
yeah,
properly.
yeah. I maybe in the yeah. I went down to 5.5 stone. So
Yes.
I don't know if 5.5 is about weight or
Yes, it is.
height, and
Yeah, he lost their height. So in Europe, most people use kilos, and I think
Mhm.
the younger generation in Britain uses kilos, but an older generation does talk about stone,
Okay, yeah.
and I forget what that would be. So, so I don't know what it is. It's incredibly light, 5 stone. It must be. I don't know. Let's just search, I suppose. But that is very, very light. It's dangerously light. I don't know how they could possibly even be alive at that sort of weight. So let's have a quick look. So 5.5 stone translate to 77 pounds. Now in America, they talk about pounds, so they would understand that. But in Britain, we talk about stone, often, well, quite a number of times, but also kilos. But I wanted them to,
It's about 35 kilograms.
which
It's
is nothing. I'm bought shopping and it weighed about that amount. Thank you for checking that out for me. So almost nothing. So anything else you want to ask about that there? Crumbs.
No, no. Mm,
Um,
Of course, there were words I mispronounced, and
well, not really. Just, I think your pronunciation of this name was probably better than mine, actually. I said Lochre, and you said Loffrey. I think your Loffrey is probably correct, actually. Loffrey, yes. Very good. Um, um, it's not a name I've come across before. Oh, yes, there was this other name here. So Jack, and this surname is almost certainly is Whittaker. Whittaker. It's not obvious, is it? I can't quite hear you. Are you're fading out a little bit. So Jack
yeah,
Whittaker. Jack Whittaker.
Jack Whittaker.
Whittaker. I think you got it. I can't believe what a sad story that is. That's a terrible
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm not sure. Perhaps you can't see it so well down the bottom. Do you want to just read this number out again? Just one more go.
Uh, 545,000 in
Yeah,
cash.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, $545,000. That's it. You've got it. Spot on. Was there something down the bottom? Y- Um, so when you said this word, I didn't quite hear you properly. Could you say that again?
Yeah, calm.
Yeah, that's it. Calm. So it's almost as if it's spelt like this. Calm. Strange, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Champers. So there's a little bit here. So do you mind just rereading this little bit here? If I go to that sentence after that sentence down to the bottom, really, is that little bit there okay once again?
Mhm. And Margaret Laffrey, who went from living on 71 pounds a week to winning a 27 million of pounds jackpot in 2013, struggled with her mental health after coming into fortune. She said, I don't believe in religion, but if there is a hell, I have been in it. It has been that bad. I went down to 5.5 stone.
Crumbs. Yes, okay. So I'll read it. I'll read it now. My go. And I like your surname. Your pronunciation is very good. So, and Margaret Loffrey, who went from living on £71 a week to winning a £27 million jackpot in 2013, struggled with her mental health after coming into fortune. She said, I don't believe in religion, but if there is a hell, I have been in it. If it has been that bad. I went down to 5.5 stone. That's it there. So coming into fortune, I think I would have put an A right there, coming into a fortune. Just sounds slightly out to say coming into fortune. It's a typo, I would say.
Okay. Coming into fortune.
Into A, yeah, I think so. And maybe, so this is a quote up here. Do you mind just rereading that quote, that little bit there?
Yeah. One of the worst things that's ever happened to me, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's it, really, isn't it? So, one of the worst things that has ever happened to me, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, that's it. So, shadow of a doubt, that's something of a saying that's used quite a lot, I think, in English, fair amount. Here we go. Maybe just that word there, maybe that's really why I said that little bit there. So, there's 4 words there. So, worst thing that's ever happened. So just this worst, maybe that word there, worst.
Worst things
Yeah,
that's ever happened to me.
yeah, I think you have it, Reed. That's great, great. There might be you might be putting a slight heather.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
You're
nothing.
right.
That's nothing. That's nothing. That's really good, I think. Very, very good reading. Anything else you want to ask about that bit there?
Mm, not from me.
No, it's very good. I'm really pulling out minor details. I think when you said that these right there, it did sound a little bit like this. So it was in the area, it was between the two. So these and this, these and this. But it might be my hearing as much as anything. So I think you got a very good accent, I think there. So do you do this business as well in Italy? So in this sometimes here when someone is perhaps they've won some money, as in this case, or maybe it's someone's, I don't know, perhaps they're due a check because they've just retired or something, and they have an oversized check. So do you do this? And what do you think what are they really talking about? Is that something
Yeah,
that
sometimes we have the same, mostly in sports
Yes.
events, or in maybe context, maybe among singers, and everyone shows the mega check.
The mega check.
Yeah.
So mega, yes, I've got you, yes. Mega big, mega large, yeah. So, yeah. I think so. What actually happens? Does somebody go into a bank with one of these big pieces of cardboard and say, "Can I have my £1,000, please?" They try to cash the check. What do they do with this, do you think? This is an excuse for conversation, do you think, really? It's not really the lesson itself.
Well, I think every bank would be happy to have that sort of clients, and yeah, offering interests and other, but yeah, or maybe offering investments or stocks or something. So
The person who came in with the check, you mean? Yes. Oh, yes, we can help you with that, sir or madam. We can help you with that
yeah,
£5,000 you've just won. Yeah.
of course, using a red carpet for you.
Oh, yes, and the champagne or champers.
I don't know, but I think it's maybe logical have the small check and additional small check, and the another oversized check. It's for show. It's for
Yes.
TV, and the winner has, for example, normal check.
Hmm. I think that's
It's
right.
my
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know exactly how it
It's not
works.
practical in reality, is it? Yes,
Mm.
I think you're correct there. But I have heard of a couple of stories where people have gone in to a bank with those oversized checks and they have cashed them. But I think you're right, though. Yeah, they're just for show mainly, and they get and it might be that they don't ever see a check. The money just appears in their bank because when presumably you're talking about tens of thousands of pounds, you don't really go around with a check, I imagine. They do some sort of an interbank transfer or something, I guess. I don't really know, to be honest. As I say, I've not won the lottery. Hmm. So one piece of advice would seem to be, so what advice would you take from this? We've just read about a few terrible stories here, and they're really quite sobering, quite worrying stories. When I say sobering, I could say it's waking me up from my fantasy. So what have you learnt from these little stories we've just read here?
Uh,
These
about
incidents.
me, it is nice to win a lottery, but
Mm,
maybe with the lowest prices, and yeah, just to have the happiness of the winner, but without the problem of being a millionaire, and
mm,
to deal with that amount of money. So maybe the right amount of money that could
mm,
change partially your life, but not being so um, demanding for your your mind and for your choices, and or challenging better for your mind or your choices of daily life. So maybe half a million euros could be a good amount of money that is manageable and good for
mm.
good to buy something for yourself, for your relatives, and yeah,
Mm. So it's not too much and it's not too
yeah,
little. That's a
exactly,
fascinating
yeah,
way of looking at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So it's life changing, but not too much. So you keep the life that you have got, but just adds some nice improvements to it. So it's not too much that you have to move house. It's just enough so that you can buy a new car maybe and go on a month-long holiday perhaps, something like that. It's interesting. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and of course, I think it is better if you have kind of list in your
Mm,
mind about things you want. Yeah, because you know sometimes we top list trivial things instead of maybe something more important. So the winner is quite visible in that sense, because if you the first thing you buy a Ferrari and maybe you used to commute every day, it is clear that your life uh, changed because of a lottery or something. So
mm. Fascinating. Yeah, that's so true. And it's other people's reactions to us that can spoil it. And so you don't want it to be so life-changing that other people change to you. And I just wanted to mention that I think at the very beginning it sounded as if you said prices, but I think you meant prizes. So so prices and prizes.
prizes, yeah,
Yeah,
prizes.
fascinating. So that's very wise what you're saying. So Elena, have you got any comments about this? This is interesting. Have you fantasized about winning the lottery?
Yes,
No. Oh, you haven't
absolutely.
then? No?
But I just imagine that people who yesterday were poor,
Poor. Yeah. Ah, yeah.
they're living on a small amount of money, and then in one day they take a lot of money. They just don't know what to do with this money, how to,
Mm,
how to manage them properly.
yeah.
They started to spend this money for some maybe crazy things, buy expensive cars, and they damaged it,
Mm,
or for drugs, or for alcohol, or some
mm,
expensive clothes.
mm.
They just don't have a
Habit, you
knowledge,
mean?
habit how to
Habit.
manage.
I got you. Yeah.
So that's all.
If it's something you're not used to, you're not in the habit of being able to deal with it. I think that's what you're saying, isn't it? So if you don't often deal with £500,000 at a time, you don't quite know how to deal with it, what you normally do, how you should normally react. Yeah, that's it. It's
I
fascinating.
think it's better step will be for them just to hire maybe good lawyer or financial advisor and
Hmm.
follow their advices.
Advice. I've got you.
Yes,
S-
specific
But the
advice.
thing is, would you be able to follow their, say it happened to you or any one of us, would we be able to follow that advice? So they'd say, oh, you can only spend £1,000 this month, Elena, or Michael, or Giuseppe, or Tony. You can only spend and you've won 1 million. And the guy is saying you can only spend £1,000. Would you be able to do that?
Of course, maybe to share this money half and half,
Right.
but one half I will be able to spend on my billings, maybe for travel or to help for my relatives
Mm,
or
relatives.
for
Yeah.
relatives or for charity.
Mm.
And then another half of the money
Oh, yeah, I see.
to keep in bank or for investments and something
Mm,
like that.
mm. In one of these stories here, it was this guy here. He had this amount of money in his car outside, but it was outside a strip club.
It's
So,
crazy.
so this guy was in a club where you paid the ladies to take off some of their clothes, and you wouldn't be having sex with them, one imagines. I think that's the law, I believe. But you paid them to take their clothes off in America. But this guy somehow left £500,000 or dollars in his car outside, and somehow got it stolen because he was drugged when he was inside. Um, yeah. We go a bit crazy sometimes, don't we? So do you think maybe we would be okay most of the time, or would there be just one or two times in a year we'd go crazy and spend £500,000 if we won, several million, 10, 20 million or something? So what I'm getting at, maybe it was this one occasion. He had $500,000 in his car, went a bit crazy, went to the strip club, and that's where it all went wrong on this one occasion. That's
This
yeah. No, you carry on, carry
not
on. Anything?
reasonable. I don't know.
Okay.
The plenty of questions about his mental health.
Yeah. When the lady above it, she was saying it was like hell, wasn't it? But if there is a hell, I have been in it. It has been that bad.
But no explanations about
Well, yeah. Well, this sounds
what
like
did
enough
she
of an
mean?
explanation to me. That's enough. It's terrible. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It releases large sums of money, releases things in us which probably shouldn't be released. So it releases a little demon inside of us, it seems. Maybe it doesn't for everybody, but for some people it does. So Michael, what do you think about these stories? We had several little stories here. Are any that you sort of caught on to that really sort of pique your interest?
You know, it's nothing new.
No.
And this, yes, because my father always said it's better to earn money
Mm,
than uh, surprisingly win in lottery or in bet or
mm,
in casino and some. Because, if you uh, win money, big, big sum of money,
mm,
uh, your body, you understand that is far more easier than working every day. So you
yeah.
should you even if you won not a million, not biggest sum, or even if you win modest modest sum of
Mm,
money, you will try again and again, um, win because it's easier than working every day, get up in the morning and go to the work and spend. uh, so it's curse. It's a win in lottery, big sum. It's curse for majority of people, in my opinion. Yeah, there are some people, maybe it's small percentage of population who have a critical mind and maybe who has surrounding who mm, suggest uh, property investment and
mm.
but I don't know. There are some phrases like more money, more problems.
Ah,
if you if you haven't if you hadn't money, and what would you do with a big sum? Yes, and money isn't everything, and uh, you know, uh, it's curse. It's for me, it's curse. There are many, you know, football players, soccer players, football players, uh, young football players, or another
young. Young.
young football players who have a million salaries, and
Mm,
they don't know what do with this money and spend it uh,
mm,
and get scam for other people.
Did you say scammed? They get scammed. Is that what
Scam from other
yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah. But
Because
by other people, they get scammed by other people. Yeah, that's it. I get you.
and by other people, yes, there are many
Mm,
stories when, for example, people have the biggest sum of
hmm
money and try to invest to
Yeah.
some business and, for example, and yes, there are many scammers who scammed them and they.
Mm. I've not come across any footballers in the UK recently that I'm aware of who get scammed. Their wealth thing gets scammed. I'm sure it does happen, but I have heard of in the past of lots of musicians that become very famous. They get lots of money, and then they get scammed. But it seems to be that not always, but sometimes the person who's making their investments, looking after their money, the thousands that they earn through record deals and whatever and concerts, that they invest it badly, or they invest it in things where the person who's doing the investment ends up winning the most. So have you heard about footballers, you're saying, and sports people who get scammed like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
because football or another sports or famous sportsmen after finishing their sport career, they
Hmm.
try to invest their money to some
Right.
business, and but they don't know anything about uh,
Business. Hmm.
those businesses, and yes, they suffer. So it's but not everything speak about it, tell about. It's you must be strong people to say about scam that
Yeah.
you was a fool and you
It's
can't.
embarrassing. Yes.
So.
It reduces you in some way. You feel silly in other people's eyes. That's it. Yeah. You're embarrassed. Very true.
But deep in my soul, maybe I'd like to be in the lottery. But I understand. On the other hand, uh, this big money, it's a curse. It's a
Yeah.
curse. So it's.
So what percentage of people do you think is a curse? Because I think you said it was rare that it does good for most people. So, but I think you were saying there's a small number of people where it works out for their betterment. So so, so how would you break it down? Would you say it's like nine people out of 100, no, 9 people out of 10, it's a curse, would you say? Or would you say 5 people out of 10 people for 5 people out of 10 who win more than £1 million or euros, would you say it's a curse for them?
Curse, no,
Or
curse. It's like uh, God's curse. It's
God's curse, you mean?
Lord's curse.
Oh, right,
Curse.
okay, yeah.
It's like I don't know synonym. Os, maybe os. No, not os.
While you're thinking about that, I'll stop the recording at this point. Wrong button.
I mean, a word or phrase that has a magic power to make something bad happen.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I'd say that was
Something
a
that goes